Good day, everybody. Figured to put this stream together today because haven't necessarily done a stream in quite some time, I guess, for what's been going on, I guess, at Spline Design Studios. If you haven't checked it out, I guess at this point, feel free to go on over to splinedesignstudios.com. Not a lot really to for the taking, I guess, as it stands right now, but we are definitely looking forward to putting some stuff out there in the not so distant future. So yeah, please feel free to check that out. But just figured to put this stream out here to give an idea to some people out there that might be wondering what's been going on in the background. And one of the things for sure, I guess, as far as going through our archives, as far as some things that we've had going on for quite some time here, this no exception, I guess, with this particular track with Wrangler Speedway. This is an extended version, I guess, of an Atlanta that basically comes out to be a little bigger than 3 miles. It's kind of a change of pace, I guess, for the likes of tracks of like Coca-Cola, even Pepsi and derivatives, I guess, of that same type of track. It's relatively very blank right now, and as you can probably see is what it says for the track logo and the track shot right now. It is still 100% in beta. We don't consider this to be complete at all, but at the same time, it's still pretty fun to race on. As I said, as you can see, it's a little bit over 3 miles in length. It's basically just a rescaled version of Atlanta, but it has no remnants of Atlanta left in it whatsoever. So I'm going to give this thing a whirl in testing just for shits and grins here. So it's, first of all, let's make sure we got it set up. Kept the setups very simple for now until we get it finally released, but it's make some double checks on here. Let's take a whirl on this thing here. Got my Spline Design Studios truck, nicely painted by a member of the community. I think you know who they are. Hope he's in the chat. Good evening, TPR logo. Thanks for coming to the stream, checking us out. Yeah, this is a very interesting track. That's why I figured I'd show this off here. This is something we've never necessarily shared with the community up until this point, and we're hoping to bring it to some light here eventually. Turn my game sounds a little bit. I don't know if those are a little too loud. I know they're a little loud on my end. I'm going to tone those down just a tad. Yeah, we'll just turn these down just a tad. Nothing major. Might be a little better. I realize the stream might be buffering there a little bit. Apologize for that. Hopefully it comes back. I don't know how my voice is coming across here. I know the game sounds are very loud on my end, so I apologize if my voice coming over the mic is a little muted. But that's just a nice lazy lap, I guess, around this track. This is going into turn 1. You see all the billboards outside of that. It does have some track library about it, obviously, but it's not 100%. There's practically hardly anything in the infield. This here is coming out of turn 2, going down the backstretch. This is going into turn 3. Got some grandstands outside of there. And as we come to turn 4 here, I'm going to peel off and come down to pits. Come down into pit road here. This is the stalls on these things are in this rendition of the track are huge. So you can go into the garage area here. This is all completely accessible. Go into these 3D garages. The thing that really, amongst other things, I guess, that really make this track really phenomenal in our minds is this victory lane. Pull up onto this thing here. It's got its own ramp.
1:35.04.
It's got its nice little ramp here. And also, I guess, it showcases a couple of Dale Earnhardt's cars. The track is an inspiration, I guess, of what Dale Earnhardt Sr. would have potentially done, I guess, if he would have built a track around his shops in Mooresville, North Carolina. And this is to pay homage, I guess, to his vision. Shows a couple of his cars in the showcase here. And what's really cool about this building is you can't really tell as much, but there's glass in front of that. It just turned out really neat on this. Another aspect to the track that's still still under construction here is this garage mahal, as we call it here. This is where Dale showcases more of his cars here. I'm just going to take a spin through here. I believe we got a couple of cars showcased here, I believe. Possibly not. Yeah, I guess we did move him up to the victory lane instead. But this is potentially a place, I guess, to put all of his other cars, kind of have his own museum. This was the idea for it. As you can probably notice too, there are remnants of what used to be, I guess, the Coca-Cola Speedway. As you can tell on that grandstand right there. So it's not 100% scratch built. Obviously, as mentioned, it's based on rescaled Atlanta. For the most part, we feel it's turned out pretty well. But the infield, as I said, is also very bare. Very limited amount of library in here. There's some placeholders in here as far as inspection garages, such as this, which comes from our Daytona build. And of course the 3D garages that I've already shown. But yeah, just to give an idea as far as this track goes. It's not by any means near completion, that's for sure, but I think for just, let's go ahead and throw this into a race here. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Get out of here. I'm going to throw this into, to give you some information as far as the potential logo design for it. We got our track info screen here. 24 degrees of banking into turns, 65 degrees on the pit road. Yeah, so it gives you somewhat of an idea of the nature of this track. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to back out of this, go ahead and throw this into a, let's put some AI on this thing. We do have some rather rough LPs, I guess you could say, as far as AI. They do race pretty decent, and they're not perfect, of course, but try these in the trucks here again. Nice little shot, I guess, of our updated Darlington build there. Yeah, let's go ahead and throw some of these in here. I'll put this on my test roster. I guess for that, this is a lot of different league trucks and such as that. Yeah, we'll put it on 17 laps. That sounds good. We'll turn cautions off. And yeah, that'll work. Let's go in here and try this out for once. This will be the first time we've ever shown this track, ever, I guess, especially with AI on it. It's rather interesting. We'll keep it in practice here. We can actually get an idea of how the AI actually respond on this thing. And there's a look at some of the cameras that we have in place here. This was an idea of a bird's eye view. You know, having basically the center infield of the track. That's still under development. Not sure if we'll necessarily stick with that or not, but this gives you an idea. We'll just focus on any particular truck here, just to give you an idea of how these AI actually respond on this track. Yeah, see, the pit stalls obviously aren't perfect either, as far as they're roughly in place as far as the rotations of them, for example. Yeah, as you can tell, they're like not very good. This will still need some adjustment into this type of thing here, but again, just gives you an idea of what's been done with it so far. See if I can find a truck that's on the track. Most all of these are all in their stalls yet. Oh, there's a nice shot. There's one pit stand that shows off the victory lane. It's one of the pit cams. Pit lane 1, we've got that on the exit line, obviously. Let's set this up on TV1 here, get an idea of how these AI run around this thing. Hoping the sound's coming through alright on that. I know when I when I put it in game, as far as riding the cockpit or even on the roof there, it seems pretty loud on my end. I just hope it's not too loud, I guess, out there. You can see the way the lanes are designed or whatever to basically allow for, you know, an actual dimensions of the trucks in this case, but even for like the Gen 6s and stuff like that, each lane will fit, you know, the size of the width of one car or truck, so they're not like overly sized. Really gives you an idea of how to navigate yourself through the corners. It's something we really like to consider, I guess, getting to completion. This was started way back a couple of years ago in 2015, so you can see how they spread out. And probably another fair mention on this too, it is relatively set up, I guess, to be restricted, you know, much like Talladega or Daytona, but we have tested on this thing here, and you can go just wicked fast. Wicked fast. You know, part of the reason, I guess, showcase this off too is understanding there are quite a few series out there that I guess that tend to want to do a super speedway series, particularly online, and thought maybe it'd be nice just to kind of showcase, you know, what we've had going on, I guess, with this particular build, because it's gone stagnant as far as just, you know, necessarily call it losing interest in it, because primarily I guess because the infield is just so barren. That's part of the see if we can find another. Here's a bigger pack of trucks. See, we have otherwise tamed them down pretty well at this juncture, whatever, to not have them race too crazy, you know, but you get the idea as far as just how much room is on the track. The way there is what we consider to be the brine ring grooves in both the tri-ovals, the entrance and exit to the tri-ovals, as well as the turns. So there's a lot of feel good, I guess, in those areas as far as to possibly gaining an advantage as far as passing. But not only to be used in online racing as far as speedway series are concerned, but also any offline. You know, it's like if you want to just race AI, as we're watching right now. I mean, it's a very fun track to race on. Okay, I guess we're in the qualifying right now. That session has ended there, so I'll just go ahead and do a qual lap here see what I can do here.
Driver, to your car. Pretty good one here. Take it down. Go get him. 1 minute 0.
Oh, we got a third out of that. I'm not going to do another lap. I just want to get one lap in there. I think I've also turned the AI down. Oh, hello there, awesome. This track, no, coming in late to the stream there. This is a track that we've been building, I guess, for quite some time. You know, back a couple of years ago. This is Wrangler Speed, Super Speedway. Never been introduced, I guess, to the community as up until now. Just kind of a change of pace, I guess, from the likes of Talladega, Daytona, and even Coca-Cola Speedway. So we're just giving it a whirl. I just did a qual run, I guess 1 lap in there, and I seem to be hanging on to 3rd spot. It's going to be the inside row, the inside of the 2nd row. I'm just realizing I probably turned and scaled back the AI some a little bit here, I guess, just to kind of be a little forgiving. Even. We're going to come down to pits here, coming on to turn 4. Just did my 1 lap. It's probably going to give me a black flag for cutting the course, but that's okay.
Ready to go to garage. Check right here.
So we know that that function obviously works, because I was still in the middle of my 2nd lap there. But that's okay. We'll just start it from the back. No big deal. But yeah, just show it off a little bit more here. Regular Speedway. This is the potential design for the logo, for the track logo. Track info screen. Obviously not compliant. It's got 24 degrees of banking in the turns, 3.08 miles in length, and if I hadn't mentioned it already, I guess this is not necessarily a scratch build. It's basically a rescale of an Atlanta track. Taking Atlanta, it still has some remnants of Atlanta, but it's probably got more Coca-Cola Superspeedway than anything. But it's got plenty of our own added amenities to it, like the Victory Lane has its own little ramp as far as a showcase for Dale Earnhardt's cars. That's probably another fair mention. The inspiration for this track is if Dale Earnhardt Sr. would have built a track, I guess, around his race shops in Mooresville, North Carolina. This was the idea, I guess, behind the track. So this is it's placed primarily right around that region as well. And we had the idea, I guess, to put like neighborhoods, if you will, like even like its own little city within the infield, because the infield right now is very bare. There's hardly anything in it other than, like I said, the Victory Lane and then the specklings, I guess, of garages. So right now we're in happy hour. We can just check out, I guess, a little bit as far as how the AI cars tend to navigate themselves out of the pits. We had considered, I guess, putting some more markings as far as like dash lines, if, for example, I guess down the pits, I guess just to show where cars should be, I guess, as far as getting to their pit stall. Because right now there's really nothing, it's just all unpainted. But yeah, it just gives an idea of how the AI cars navigate themselves out of the pits. They're way down in the middle of the back stretch here, coming out onto the coming into turn 3 now. Yeah, we feel the AI is, very, very, and I've got these toned down too. If I haven't caught me mention that, I've got them kind of toned down a little bit as far as the strength, the AI strength. I think I've got them at like 87%. That's not to say you couldn't put it at 100 or closer to 100. Let's get a better look at these packs of trucks or whatever just maneuvering themselves around. This car roster that I've got set up here, it's got a mix between the default 2015 trucks and some league trucks. Some of them you might notice, I guess, from around the online racing community. These aren't rated either. That's probably another fair mention too, that these trucks that I'm racing with, they're not rated at all. They have just their default settings as far as making a car or truck file, as far as the 40 minimum and 60 max, say, for example. We have used a lot of information based on, the Talladegas and the Coca-Cola Super Speedways to get an idea of how we wanted this track to behave. Obviously, I mean, it's and as I said before, as far as the restrictions, there's restrictor plates applied that can be removed easily. I guess a couple of keystrokes, I guess, in the I&I, but just keeping in mind, I guess you go super fast, I guess, on this thing if you do. Just kind of neat to watch these. They get down on an apron there. That is allowed. That is a racing surface. It's the way we've designed it. You can see it does have, some bumps and dips in it, whatever, but I think we feel it adds a lot of character to the track. As far as it just being, so smooth, I guess, that it keeps you on your toes, I guess is the best way to put it, we feel. Appreciate anyone coming in and joining the stream. Okay, looks like we just going in the race here. Let's get out of this mode. Got it set at 17 laps here. Like I said, we should be on the inside second row. I'm going to see if I can turn down the sounds here a little bit. They come out very loud, I guess, on my end here. I'm going to see if I can adjust that just for a second here. Just my end, it seems to be just super duper loud. We'll try this out.
Drivers, start your engines!
Hopefully that's not as hard on the ears. I know it's a little bit better on my end. Hopefully it's still coming through, I guess, on the stream there. I didn't put it on a full pace lap. I got it on the half lap, which is basically puts the starting grid on the back stretch. Made the brakes on the setup here, I guess, just a little bit touchy, so you have to be, rather reserved, I guess, on how much brakes you use here, because it will plow the nose.
Alright, man, pace cars in. Get ready. Alright, man, I'll call the green there. Nice smooth shift, and I'll walk in front of you. Go get them. Alright, man, pace cars in. Get ready. Crank again. Crank again.
Take it easy to start here, and obviously, like I said, these AI are kind of toned down as far as they're not super aggressive. About 87%.
Still there. Up top 3 wide, up top 3 wide. Inside. Exit door. Up top 3 wide. 1 inside.
Got a navigator say up through here.
Clear low. Inside. Still there.
You might notice that the colors of the walls,
Up top 3
especially the
wide.
turns, are kind of color coded, kind of let you know
Hold your line. 1 inside.
roughly, I guess, as far as where you're at.
Exit door. Up top 3 wide. 1 minute 3 on 8 4 9. Up top 3 wide. 1 inside. Stay high. Still there.
I'm having to crack the throttle quite a bit with turning that AI
Still
down.
there.
I'm wanting to get a better idea of
Exit
how
door.
these AI actually respond based on toning and turning them down or keeping them full strength.
Still there. Up top 3 wide. 1 inside. Still there. Stay high. Stay high. Up top 3 wide. Come on, come on. Keep digging there. Keep digging. Come on, come on, come on. There you go. Hold your line. 1.05. 2. Still there. Stay high. Stay high. Up top 3 wide. 1 inside. Exit door. Still there. Up top 3 wide.
See how the cars are, the trucks are in this case are actually straddling, I guess, the different lanes too. That's been done by design too, just to kind of trying to making a hole for themselves.
Outside. In the middle 3 wide. In the middle
See
3
how they're
wide.
navigating
Clear low.
really well on the bottom.
Inside.
Top line, middle and top line
Still
are
there.
going nearly as far, I guess, as the bottom line right now.
Still there.
See everybody trying to shift it over down to the bottom lane.
1
Myself getting right to the wall here.
on 8 7 2 1 inside. Hold your line. Up top 3 wide. Inside. Stay high. Up top 3 wide. Hold your line.
Got a truck stuck up here against the top
Up
side.
top 3 wide. Inside.
Jump down to this other
Exit
lane.
door. Stay high. Clear low.
Jump down to the bottom here and see how
1
we
outside. Exit door.
get through here.
Still there. On the bottom 3 wide. 1 outside. Exit door. Still up there. Still up there. Still there. Stay low there. On the bottom 3 wide. Outside. Outside. Clear. On the bottom 3 wide. Stay low there. 1. 1.2. 2. 1. 1 outside. Exit door. Still up there. Still up there. On the bottom 3 wide.
Bit of a brake check
1
there.
outside. Exit door. Stay low there.
Arm
On
foul.
the bottom 3 wide. Hold your line. Hold your line. Outside. Still up there. Still up there. Stay low there.
Coming into
Still up
turn
there.
3.
Still up there.
We got this kind of slowing up on me here. I guess that's product, I guess, of turning that
Still up there.
AI
Still
strength
up
down.
there. On the bottom 3 wide. Outside. Hold your line.
Coming into the triangle.
Clear. On the bottom 3
How they
wide.
use the apron.
1 outside. Exit door.
That is not considered out of bounds.
1.4 7 0 on the bottom 3 wide. Just keep trying to be consistent here. Still up there. Still up there. On the bottom 3 wide. 1 outside. Exit door. On the bottom, 3 wide. Hold your line. 1 outside at your door. 1 outside at your door. On the bottom, 3 wide. Hold your line. 1 outside at your door. Hold your line. Hold your line. 1 outside at your door. Outside.
Woo, serious brake check
On
there.
the bottom, 3 wide. 1 outside at your door. Still there.
You know, and like I said, that's primarily a product, I guess, of turning the AI strength down.
Third high.
And the fact that these trucks have been racing, but they're not rated whatsoever. They have just the default settings to them. They haven't been rated in any fashion.
1.08. Still there.
Ooh, I got one trying to turn me around. Look at that. Look at that aggressiveness.
Outside.
Trying to push me out of the way. Turd.
Outside. On the bottom, 3 wide. Outside. Still there. Stay low there.
It kind of gives you an idea of how much room there is, I guess, to actually, you know, collect yourself as far as, you know, it doesn't hurt you, I guess, to get down on the apron, you know, and gather it back up and just get back in line. You know, the transitions of onto the apron and stuff like that is not so detrimental that it's just, you're just in a bad way. The fact that you can use the apron here in the tri-oval,
Clear all around. Clear all around. One
just get
outside
right back
at your
into
door.
it.
Still up there. Still up there. 1.4. 3. 8. Stay low there. Stay low there. On the bottom, 3 wide. Still there. Still up there. Still up there. Clear high.
We're getting there, boys. We're digging.
1 outside at your door. Stay low there. Stay low there. Stay low there. In the middle, 3 wide.
Make a hole in here.
Clear high.
See if we can't get the lead here.
At your door.
We're not even in the lead. There's another pack of trucks here. We're only in
1 outside at your door.
12th, 11th here. Right
Still
here.
up there. Still up there. Clear high. 1.0.
Oh, there we go. Now we're in 3rd.
7. There you go, man. Keep
See if we can
it.
get into the
Nice and
leaders.
up, nice and smooth.
A lot of real estate between the top 2 trucks. That's crazy. I don't know how that happened, but that's... I don't know if I can gain anything on those top 2 trucks or not.
Come on, come on, come on. There you go. 1.0.14. 3.
Doesn't even show the interval for second place truck. What's up with that? He's like almost a whole lap ahead of us here. That's crazy. Seven laps to go. Let's see how our fuel is. We don't need fuel. So it's good for 17 laps. You don't need fuel after 17 laps. So that's something to take into consideration as well as far as You can go 8 laps on basically a full tank. That's what this is projecting, I guess, for the fuel run. Tires aren't really an issue on this thing, as most super speedways are. Hardly anywhere on the tires. Fuel, yeah, that's definitely something. Yeah, you definitely have to keep an eye on. Now it's telling me I need a splash. It's going back and forth there, so yeah, the fuel situation, I guess, for the track is obviously something definitely to consider, I guess, on this track.
To go. 1 0 5 4 8.
It's going back to a splash. It goes back to none. Must be the fuel shifting in the, you go through the turns there, it's not getting to the pickup. It's kind of interesting. We got some trucks coming into pit. Standings here. Definitely got some trucks coming in the pit.
Leader coming out pit road here, bro.
Leader is pitting right now. Interesting. He's got almost a lap on this though, so. Probably another fair mention that this is kind of out of our realm of, you know, track building, because primarily we focus on real tracks. You know, the fact that this is kind of just a vision of what could have been. I guess if Dale Earnhardt Sr. would have built the track around his racetracks back in Mooresville, North Carolina, you know, kind of the way he would have done it. Kind of goes, like I said, beyond our realm of, you know, building tracks that are actually, in actuality, there's, you know, something tangible. You know, these leaders just pitted.
Exit door. Exit door. Clear.
Kept it from draft.
One inside, up top, 3 wide, clear. 1 0.
And we took the lead.
4 9 1. They're all over the racetrack. Now pit road here. There you go. Just on that same groove, man. You're doing
Oh,
awesome.
it's got it
Real
right.
good job. Clear.
Turn the cautions off, so that's not going to affect us. Really tell the difference between having draft and not having draft, so it's still got the same effects as any other super speedway in this game.
Go get it, buddy. Go get it, 50. 9, 7, 9.
Catching up to the pack of trucks in the back stretch. Already picking up the draft.
Outside. Clear.
Our gauge just went red. Woo!
Hey! Ha! That's awesome! Ha! Good job, Yuri! Hell yeah! Hell in damn day!
Yeah, we need a splash. We only had one more lap left in that.
Oh, parked it in the wall. Doing the burnout. Hell yeah! Hell in damn day! That's awesome! Woo! Good job! Oh, parked it in the wall. Doing the burnout.
Yep, she's sputtering. Might not make it around. Yeah, so we were able to get about 17 and some change on a tank of gas. Yep, and she's out. Lost oil pressure and fuel pressure. See if we can coast it around here and get the victory lane. Come on, baby.
Pit road speed 65. Need to amend that for 5,000 second gear.
And there's my pit stall. See if I can make it to the pit lane here. Probably not. Woo! Not quite. Yeah, that would be the way to get in there. Anyway. So, with that, I guess that's all she wrote for that.
The hell happened now?
I'm gonna get yelled at by my crew chief there. But anyway, this gives a little bit of insight as to some of the things we've been working on behind the scenes for Spline Design Studios. The super speedway track build that's more or less can be considered fictional. It's kind of a fantasy deal, but it by no means is considered to be finished or complete. So just wanted to showcase that off. Probably one of the other things that I guess we have out there, there's several other tracks that we've got out there that haven't been presented, I guess, to the community, but we're hoping maybe that might be one of them that online leagues might consider. It might help us, I guess, get motivated, I guess, to maybe finish it as well. So going through my arsenal tracks here, one that I know that was shown off earlier was obviously the Darlington track, and just to give some insight as far as how well that one's been going. So going to that, it's still kind of up in the air as far as whether or not, because initially, obviously the build was going to fall under the SBP banner, as the track shot depicts there, but it's come to be understand as far as we feel there's still some obligation to be given, I guess, to our premium members, I guess, through the SBP channels. That's, if anything, probably one of the primary reasons the track has been put on the back burner as far as full public release. For the most part, we feel that it is pretty much complete. It's ready to go, I guess, right out of the box. But as far as the only place that it has been, or at least a version of it, has been released is through the Sim Racing Association channels, which is this version right here. It has been utilized at least in a couple leagues that we know of, and some adjustments have been made, I guess, to accommodate the series racing, I guess you could say. I guess as I flip through the tracks, they're kind of adjusting my roster there. But we'll go ahead and start this up here. This is the Sim Racing Association rendition, I guess, of our Darlington build. I feel this has turned out pretty well. Haven't really got a lot of reviews on it, I guess, as of late. I know it's kind of one of those tracks you want to hate to love, or love to hate, just because of the nature, the orientation, the narrowness of turns 3 and 4, whatever like that. It does have its pitfalls as far as not being a very fun track to race on, at least in a pack, in a crowd even. So well, I figure showcase this off a little bit more. You can really get a sense of, I've posted a lot of screenshots as far as how the track looks or whatever, but as far as the 3D safer that's been applied both on the inside walls and the outside, really says a lot for the track as far as how far we've come, I guess, as far as the development of tracks, if anything. One thing I particularly, personally, really am pleased with the way it turned out is the track textures, as far as the sealer marks and just the overall aging of the track. That was something that we had really paid close attention to, wanting to get it original, something genuine, because the track in itself obviously has its own persona. The hype and whatever that was created, even as with the throwback type of atmosphere to it, to have all the older cars, and even the newer cars have depictions, I guess, of the older cars, I guess, on them. It's just, we wanted to capture a lot of that that type of feeling, and we feel like we've done that. That's just cycle through these here and see all these trucks, the AI trucks, I guess, to race on here, and it's these, in comparison, I guess, to the Wrangler track that was already pointed out and shown previously. The AI here are more or less what we consider to be completed. Not perfect by any stretch of the means, for sure, but it's, as far as them being very easy, I guess, to run side by side with and so on, it's very evident. So as you might notice in this version here, about the only thing different in this version in comparison to our official release, as far as through Spline Designs or even Safer Barrier project, is the fact that it's just got the league logos on the emblazoned, I guess, on the front stretch. So that's really about the only thing that's different about this track. saying welcome to anybody coming into the stream. Feel free to say hello, and if you're just coming into the stream right now, what you're previewing right now is AI trucks at the Darlington Raceway track build that has been officially released to the Sim Racing Association as of late, which has been used in at least 2 leagues that we are aware of. This is, like I said, obviously a version that has been already used by leagues, but the only difference with it, as I've already mentioned, is the leagues represented on the front stretch. Other than that, it's still relatively all the same logos and signages that appear on the track from 2015. That's probably another fair mention. This build is based on the 2015 season. As far as the condition of the track, be it billboards and the wall signages and such that were on the track at that time. So probably a good fair mention, I guess, about that. Let's just navigate around here and see. You can just, this one's coming into the pits, and see how they navigate around these. You can get a better idea of the restart zone that's obviously been applied here, which is actually functional as far as the earliest and latest starter decisions. You can get an idea here too, I guess, as far as the size of the pit stalls, which are very accurate, geometrically sound, even, if you will. And part of the reason, I guess, Showcase, this is the latest release submission, I guess, to the Sim Racing Association as far as Spline Designs group is concerned. And we showcase this one off because it's obviously the most recent, and these are the types of things that you can see clearly, I guess, with the types of tracks that are being submitted, I guess, to submit. You don't see a lot of releases publicly that we've done, I guess, for through the Spline Designs website. So trying to give some clarification, I guess, to those that might be wondering what's going on behind the scenes. This is part of the reason of putting this stream up, and just putting some word out there, I guess, as to what they're doing. Some may be aware of the fact that we are involved, I guess, with Sim Racing Association, for sure. Hello, Craig. How you doing, buddy? Thanks for checking the stream out. We're just kind of showing, what's been going on, I guess, behind the scenes, I guess, with Spline Design Studios and what we've been involved with. Probably missed, I guess, our showcasing, I guess, of the Wrangler Super Speedway, which we're kind of hoping, I guess you could say, in our own pathetic way, I guess, trying to get some ambition, I guess, to complete it. In fact, I'll go back to that real quick, I guess, so you can see it as far as what I'm talking about. It's basically a super speedway that can be used, I guess, in just as the likes of Talladega, Daytona, I mean, even Coca-Cola for that matter. But this is the this is the look that we're going for as far as the potential designs, I guess, for the track shot and the logo. Just going here real quick and testing and give you an idea, since you've kind of showed up late, and get you caught up, I guess, as far as what you may or may not have missed. We've already gone through this, so I'm not going to go through everything that I went through, I guess, earlier in the stream, but this just gives you an idea of what this track entails. It's a 3.08 mile quad oval, 65 mile an hour on the pit road, 24 degrees of banking in the turns, and they do have the brine ring grooves, as we call them, I guess, in the entrance and exit of the tri-oval, as well as the turns. You're able to do. I've had the AI turned down a little bit to be a little bit more forgiving, as far as 87% as opposed to like 100. But yeah, that's. If anything, I guess we're kind of looking for some ambition, I guess, to maybe complete this track, because it is a pretty solid track. As I said, we had tested out some AI, I guess, with it earlier, and just to give an idea of just how you can how it can be raced. I don't want to bore you with details, I guess, as far as what's actually going on with it, as far as unless you care to have me indulge with that. But this is between this one, as you came into the stream, and showing off the Darlington track that we submitted to SRA, just trying to get people aware of why Spline Designs in particular hasn't released anything as of late, and it's more or less because of us trying to develop, I guess, these tracks in an online environment so that we have better handle on what to do, I guess, as far as to release publicly. So I can show. In fact, I'll go ahead and do that. I'll jump out of the game here real quick, and just to give you an idea as far as the guts of this particular track, as far as the ring of the super speedway. There's a top-down view. One of the things that we did find out has become evident that we need to do, and again, I'm not trying to bore you with details or the technicalities, I guess, of the track builds, but to move this outermost section, this red ring that's around there, to help with the frame rates. Granted, there is not a whole lot on this track as it sits. I can just give a spin around, I guess, with this thing. It's very bare in the center, as far as the infield. The only thing that's really in here is just some placeholder stuff. But one of the things that's really killer, I guess, about this track is, from what we look at it anyway, is this victory lane. The fact that you can showcase your winning vehicle, I guess, on this ramp, and it also has some of Dale Senior's cars showcased within it, which has it's behind glass. That's a edit of a Coca-Cola object, Coca-Cola Super Speedway object. Another added amenity, I guess, to this track, and keeping in mind too, this is a completely fictional fantasy type of build, so the inspiration for it was that if Dale Sr. would have built a track around his race shops in Mooresville, North Carolina, this would have potentially been his vision, to even create this museum of sorts that this you can drive right into, and it would potentially have a lot of his winning cars, like his throughout his career. It does have these obviously posted. These are like the pinnacle. This is his '98 Daytona winning car, and then of course his Trans Am Corvette. I believe that was back from 2003, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong on that. I'm not all up to par, I guess, on my history, but this whole idea was initially stems from, I guess, one of my partners in crime, James 76, which is his birthday today. I'll give a shout out, I guess, to my buddy James there, I guess, for coming up for this idea on his birthday. So shout out to you, buddy. Probably one of the reasons too I figured to put this stuff out here, because it's gone stagnant as far as the completion of this build. This was started like back in 2015, and it just, I feel it deserves its own, it deserves to be finished. Let's just put it that way. because it has so much potential for it, I guess, to be, you know, a very solid track to run on, I guess, as far as an alternative, I guess, to the traditional Talladegas and Daytonas, I guess, that are out there already. Yeah, you can see there are remnants too, and I think I've already mentioned that. If I hadn't, it's basically a rescale of an Atlanta, which is where the 3.08 miles comes from. It's basically just doubled, roughly doubled in size from the 1.54 that the original Atlanta is. But it also has remnants of the Coca-Cola Superspeedway. In fact, in this mode, yeah, I can go ahead and turn off. Let's put it in a different mode here. You can see then this has remnants of the Coca-Cola Superspeedway stands. That obviously would potentially get, you know, changed. And cool, thanks, Craig. You know, it's something we hope everybody might, you know, tend to want to like. You know, it's just like I said, it's just that much different, I guess, than the traditional Talladegas and Daytonas and so on. The way it races, it's got a lot of its own attitude, as far as being able to race, like on the apron, for example. It's not necessarily considered out of bounds. As you can see, there's no painted line, I guess, as far as the transition between the apron and the racing surface. So you potentially do have the ability to go down there and not upset your car that much, be it the truck or the car, to include even in the tri-oval. That's what we were showing earlier, I guess, with the AI, as far as how you can navigate through this track, and you can race everywhere. If it's got asphalt on it, you can race on it. And that's been kind of our vision, I guess, with it, as far as wanting to make it an alternative, I guess, to other super speedway tracks that are out there. So anybody else that's out there in the chat, I'm just thinking, we are monitoring that, so if there's anything in particular else, that's pretty much all I ventured out, I guess, to showcase, was our latest Darlington release to the Sim Racing Association, as well as potentially maybe even this Wrangler Super Speedway. We don't consider it to be finished, obviously, for sure. As far as the graphics are concerned, it still has remnants of Atlanta, as I showed on the start box, as well as the main grandstands there. But as far as everything else, as far as, you know, racing on it, it's pretty much a finished product. In fact, one of the other things I can show, this is a little trick of our trade, as far as showing exactly where the grooves exist and where you can yeah, you can see here. So like, you have basically a groove up against the wall, you have your middle groove and your low groove, as far as right here. And you can race anywhere on this. Anything that has asphalt on it, you can basically race there. The transition to the turns, and even in the tri-oval, as I've already mentioned, see, it even has grooves up in the, this is the exit of the tri-oval. So you have passing opportunities, I guess, in these zones. Much better way, I guess, than you can any other super speedway track, as far as we're concerned. This is coming into the entrance. We're going backwards on the track, by the way. This would be considered the entrance of the tri-oval, coming onto the front stretch. Here's the exit of 4. You can get a better idea too of how these grooves are. See, all this area that's the dark gray, that's raceable. You can go down there, and, you know, if you get out of shape, you know, somebody taps you in the rear or whatever, you get down there, just gather it up, get back on the track. It'll allow you to do that. That's something that we've paid particular attention to as far as, having some forgiveness, I guess, on drivers, getting out of shape. On the top side, obviously, that would be a different story. I mean, the same can be said, I guess, for any other super speedway. If you get caught up on the top lane, as far as getting out of shape, you might be in a bad way. Not saying that this track can be considered a bottom feeder as far as just staying on the bottom, but not saying you can't race in any other grooves without getting in trouble, but I think that can be said for pretty much any super speedway. But we feel that this version here, and there's a reason why, if you might be asking as far as why this area up against the wall is so much wider, there's some reason for that. That's to allow, I guess, more than one lane. This is, if I put it back on the, let's put it on the textures here. If you look at this, there's actually 2 lanes assigned, I guess, to that groove. So you have 2 lanes basically assigned to that. This lane here would be the next groove, and then this is your traditional asphalt groove down here. So you have your asphalt, your concrete, and your paint, which is the primary assignments to a track of this nature. So if anything, that might give you some insight as far as how a lot of super speedway track grooves, I guess, are assigned, if anything else, because it uses a lot of the same ideals, I guess, with that. I'm going to put it back to here. Yeah, so this right here is basically 2 lanes. This is the 1 lane and this is a lane. And the way the lanes are laid out, it's actually so that you can fit just one truck or one car, widthwise into it. But, and you can put them in tandem, I guess, with each other, I guess, running theirs. So a lot of thought's been put into as far as how wide those lanes are. I mean, what we were showing, I guess, earlier, I guess, with the AI is actually how they'll tend to straddle those different lanes. They don't necessarily stay right in between these lines. They'll actually straddle them to kind of create themselves a hole, I guess, to get into they're taking advantage, more or less, I guess, of the different types of grip. They'll have the left wheel, say, for example, on the one level grip, and then the right side on the other. And that's by design. The potential, I guess, to even do that in, with human racers is the same. So yeah, absolutely, Craig. I mean, as far as it does give room, the fact that there's 3 distinct grooves, and even considering there's the safer that's in there, which isn't to our latest spec as far as having a 3D on there. This is still the conventional way, but you still get a rough idea as far as how much there is easily 3 lanes of racing all across this track, be it in the turns or in the tri-oval or even on the straights. But there's room for forgiveness as far as if somebody on the top, for example, gets out of shape, the cars that are below, the cars or trucks below that lane can actually scoot down to the bottom, and it's not going to hurt them. I think that's probably the most important thing, I guess, about the build of this track. It's very forgiving in that if you transition off even below the yellow line here, it's not going to hurt you. You can still race down there. It's kind of gradually work your way back up there, get everybody sorted out, and you can just keep going. You can't say as much for a lot of the other super speedway, to include Coca-Cola, Talladega, and even Daytona for that matter. So that's something we've taken a lot in consideration as far as just checking out your text there, Craig, as far as being able to run right up against the wall is much more improved in our mind. One of the things too, I guess, to keep in consideration, in talking to some of the other leagues as far as how you're able to manipulate, I guess, how much grip is in this actual safer wall, that's something else that we're taking into consideration, and it could really be applied, I guess, to any track that has safer, be it the conventional install or even the 3D foam that we've now come up with. That's evident in our Darlington build, our most recent Darlington build. Being able to apply that amount of grip that's there, and it's not really a grip per se, it's more of a cushion, if anything. We're coming to find, with talking to other track builders and other leagues that have applied this type of aspect, I guess, to that type of wall, it's a game changer. It just adds that even much more safety, as far as eliminating, I guess, big wrecks and a lot more caution laps, especially for online racing. So yeah, we're kind of excited, I guess, about introducing, I guess, that type of thing, I guess, to even this conventional safer that's on here. I still tend to witness people coming and going, yes, on the stream. I'm curious as whether or not to call it good or not. I appreciate you showing up, Craig. I know I showing some love, I guess, as far as we haven't streamed at that as much as we would like to, that's for sure, and we felt that there was time here, I guess, to just put some information out there as far as what's been going on with myself and our team over at Spline Design Studios. So yeah, that's just a couple of things. I mean, there's probably more I could really go into, but that might we don't want to basically present, I guess, everything in one stream. I guess that's the thing. We've got some other things that we definitely would like to share, but kind of in a way, we're excited to continue producing tracks for use, I guess, in the different online environments, to include Sim Racing Association, but we appreciate everybody's feedback, and I guess that's the other reason, I guess, for putting the stream up there, hopefully getting others to join in and just kind of chime in as far as where they what everybody feels, I guess, about what's been happening with the tracks. We don't get as much feedback as we'd like to, that's for sure. Yeah, absolutely, Craig. I mean, that's primary. It's like we just got to thinking. It's just I don't think enough people know out there that what they just more or less show up, I guess, on a weekly basis and just be like, wow, this is pretty cool. It's just the way it's laid out, the way it races, and so on. But they don't really think or even know about where it really originates from. And we felt, if anything, that would be a good way, I guess, to show, to showcase that off. So, yeah, we've shown, obviously with this track, as I said, this one has not been presented to the public up until this point. It's been stagnant now since 2015. We haven't really done much more to it since then. This Wrangler Super Speedway has been this way, stagnant, since 2015. It's just like we tend to see a lot of online leagues that tend to utilize a super speedway type of series, and it's like the same tracks seem to get used over and over again. And it's like, what better way, I guess, to introduce, I guess, something that maybe another alternative. It's so if nothing else, to show what's been going on behind the scenes, I guess, with Spline Designs, but also to potentially show online leagues as far as what we've got available, if they tend to want to use something like this. Really looking for some motivation, I guess, to get this thing completed, for sure. I mean, it's I think it deserves, like I said earlier, as far as to be completed, but I think as you came in, Craig, earlier, we were showcasing off, I guess, the latest Darlington build, which, again, part of the reason for showing that is, just to show those out there that may not know as far as like what's been going on with spline designs. That's it. I mean, it's, we've been producing tracks, not like we haven't been doing anything, but we kind of hoped there would be more involvement, I guess, with the community, I guess, with us providing, I guess, to such places as Sim Racing Association. So yeah, we kind of hope, if anything else, this might be a type of promotion, even, I guess, for that type of thing, so that it'll get more otherwise offline racers, I guess, involved with the online, because there's a lot going on in the online community than you probably are aware of. I mean, that's why we tended to shift gears, providing tracks as far as what we have a knowledge in doing tracks wise to online series as opposed to offline. I mean, we don't discount at all as far as like the offline environment in the community is still big. I mean, that's still a big thing, but I think not to discount at all as far as like what's happening in the online. I mean, there's a lot going on with that too. The series, the potential series, I guess, for this track, I guess, to utilize this track is, there's a lot of potential there. I mean, as far as I could probably put a plug out there if I could get certain someones that I expected, I guess, to come onto the stream, I guess, to chime in, but I'm kind of reserved, I guess, to do that at this point. So it's like I won't do that unless they might tend to chime in here, because we tend to take a neutral and an unbiased stance as far as who tends to use what. I mean, as far as, I think that's probably another fair mention, I guess, as far as the purpose of the stream is just to get people to understand we don't side with any particular group in particular. It's probably a redundancy, but I think it's a fair mention that anything that we provide from our group at Spline Designs, granted, it's been just one particular group in particular, and I've already mentioned it as far as that being Sim Racing Association, but we're available, I guess, pretty much for any online leagues that are out there. It's like if you find the work that we're producing to be used in an online and even offline environment, we appreciate those that have used what we've produced, but also, if anything, it's a promotion for us and just to make an awareness, I guess, for people out in the community to show what we have to provide. That's and I'm kind of shamelessly navigating around this track just to reintroduce myself. It's like I said, I just came across this in our archives, and it's just got to talking with partners in crime here as far as our track building. It's just like, we really need to complete this thing, and it's just like, what better way to go ahead and do that than to just showcase it and see where the interest lies. If there is at all any interest in having something like this completed, yeah, we would probably definitely get on it. So if anything, this is gonna put a crack to the whip to encourage us, I guess, to potentially get it done. But kind of a shameless and pathetic way, I guess, in our minds, I guess, to get someone, I guess, to say yes or no. We do understand that some people tend to be privy to the Daytonas and the Talladega builds and so on. There's other builds out there that I guess that kind of mimic the same idea, and it's just a lot of online leagues in particular tend to privy, I guess, using those types of things. And they're like, oh, this is just another super speedway track. It's like, do we really need one of those? But I really do feel that this would be an added, a very valued asset in the community, both online and offline, if it was given a chance. I think so. If anything, that's our reasons, I guess, for showcasing. And I'm so tempted, I guess, to show some of the other things that are going on in the background that a lot of people may or may not know about, as far as what's going on in Spline Designs. But it's like, I hate to give away everything in one fell swoop. That's the shame that I guess that I have. I am so tempted. I mean, as I speak right now, it's just like there's so much more that I could probably show off, and it's just, do I dare? But oh, I'm so tempted. I'm telling you, so tempted. But really, I think that's about all I really had to show. And I mean, if there's any interest at all, anybody that has watched the stream, appreciate you chiming in and seeing what was going on as far as what we had to showcase. And yeah, that's for sure, Craig. We can't give away all our tricks. I mean, it's just, if we were to do that, it's just like, what but it's so tempting, I tell you. It's so tempting. I guess if anything, we'll kind of use this showcase stream, I guess, as a testing bed, I guess, as far as to see where the interest lies. And then if anything, just to give some insight to people in the community as far as what's going on in the Spline Designs Studios group, as far as what we've been potentially working on and so on, and whether or not more information through the form of streams would be pertinent. So I think with that said, I'll keep it. Yeah, we'll close it at that, and hopefully, I guess maybe there's some interest, I guess, in what. Yeah, hopefully this is just looking at some of the chats that I'm receiving, I guess, offline here. We appreciate anybody that's shown up here and just haven't necessarily chimed in, but at least given us a look to see what's going on, and if anything, to create some awareness as far as we're not quiet. We're not trying to be quiet at all. We are heavily at work, I guess, behind the scenes, providing, I guess, for the online, and putting more focus, I guess, on the online racing as opposed to the offline, and if anything, to at least better the offline experience all around. So yeah, again, I think with that said, I think that's all I really had to show, and hopefully there's more interest in there. If you like what you saw and you'd like to see more of that, please follow the channels so that you can be notified, I guess, when we go live again, and we'll be sure to keep in touch. But for now, thank you for watching.